Get to today's guests. Today, I'm happy to welcome Kristen Buckshire, the owner and agent at Travel Ease, and Kristi Peak, president and travel professional at Embrace the Journey Travel, to discuss how to sell resorts and theme parks during the age of COVID-19. We've been covering a lot of the changes and new rules at resorts and theme parks that seem to be changing all the time. And we thought we should get those who built their business around those products to learn what they are seeing, both trends from clients and firsthand from their own experience. So I want to say thank you to both Kristen and Kristi for joining me, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
I think, Kristen, I think you might be on mute right now.
Yep, thanks, Dan.
All right, as long as we're ready to go. Yeah, so I wanna take things one at a time here and then sort of bring everything together as we go along. I know resorts and theme parks are very different vacation experiences for guests, but I know they've sort of followed similar trends with rules changing and the experiences changing, and they've also both have loyal client bases. I want to see if we can start with Kristi now, and I know you sell a lot of resorts, and I'm just wondering, could you tell us a little bit about your experience selling resorts during COVID-19? What have you seen from clients, and then what have you seen firsthand? I know you've been to a couple of resorts during the lockdown period.
Yes. So what we've seen from clients was at first there was hesitation. I would say like the end of May, 1st of June, there was hesitation, but there were also a lot of people who had been inside for a long time. So they were wanting to get out and go do something. So what I've seen is in Mexico, the resorts are doing a fabulous job. I went in July and in September, and I'm headed back this month in November. And they have great safety protocols. The Caribbean, we've seen like a little bit of hit or miss with the COVID testing. So with Jamaica, we hit a little rough spot because of COVID testing and the changes there. But Mexico has been, me and Kristen have talked about it a lot. It's been pretty much a home run hit for everyone, for Mexico, travel agents, and the clients because of the safety protocols.
Yeah, and we've actually heard that from an advisor 2 weeks ago. Melissa LaSalle said she was seeing a lot of entrants in Mexico, and I know I've heard from a bunch of suppliers that Mexico seems to be a big winner from this, and I want to get to that later, but I want to let Kristen talk about what have you seen from your side. I know you do resorts too, and I know, Kristi, you do theme parks too, but Kristen, could you talk about your experience similar to Kristi but in theme parks as the pandemic has sort of progressed?
Absolutely, Dan. I think for those of us who specialize in theme parks, we have a bit of a unique situation. Our destination is open for travel, which is fantastic because so many advisors who specialize in different niches don't have destinations that are open for travel. We're fortunate enough to have that, but our actual product has changed quite a bit with theme parks. So the type of clients that are attracted to visiting the theme parks in 2020 are a bit different than what we've seen in the past, especially when we think about things like a Disney vacation. It's such an emotional purchase for clients, and it's something they've thought about for such a long time. We're really finding that first-time guests, we're encouraging them to wait because the full experience isn't there. I've had the chance to visit Universal and Disney a number of times since opening. I try to get up there every couple of weeks just to check in and see how things are going. They're both doing a tremendous job with safety. But because not all of the experiences are intact right now, we are seeing a heavy push towards 2021 travel with our clients.
Okay. Yeah, and you actually mentioned before the call that today was a big day for Disney because they open up 2021 reservations.
Absolutely. I think we're going to see a lot of interest. I've already gotten a lot of text and messages today. I think folks are there's an appetite to get out of the house and start traveling again. And I think they're feeling a lot safer leaning on late 2021.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, both of you have firsthand experiences in resorts and theme parks. I think we'll start with Kristi. I mean, do you want to talk to me about any specific experiences you had and about the restrictions that you saw as a guest, the restrictions, the new protocols, COVID-19 tests, temperature checks, things like that?
So I've only been to Mexico, and Mexico outside of the country, doesn't require a COVID test. But they are doing an amazing job. So like in July, I went to Cabo, and whenever you get off, you fill out a health questionnaire. They have a thermal scanner, and they're checking you for a temperature. And then each resort is different. So on that trip, I stayed at Hard Rock, Los Cabos, Secrets, Los Cabos, and Grand Bayless. So at Hard Rock, by the time we got our luggage, it had been cleaned 3 times. The driver cleaned it, the staff cleaned it, and then they cleaned it again before they brought it to our room. The room had safety protocols, like the mini bar was sealed and they came and stocked it fresh. So each resort is different on what they're doing. At Grand Velas, they even check your oxygen level when you check in, like you get a thermal scan and an oxygen level. And I mean, we had a great trip. It was like a normal trip, except really, really clean. And you got the temperature checks, and the mask varies too. Do you have questions about the mask?
Yeah, I was going to ask about masks. I guess there wasn't a concurrent sort of protocol across, because you stayed at 3 different resorts, but I mean, was there a general feel of maybe wear masks? Was there a general rule? I know on the cruise lines, they're pushing sort of, when we can social distance, we're going to try to wear masks. Is that sort of a similar rule?
So it varies on where you're at and which resort, but all the masks required, all of the resorts in Cabo had you wear it to enter and to check in. And then like at Hard Rock, when you weren't at the pool, they were having you wear it. But when you're at the pool or the beach, you don't have to wear it because you're going to be swimming or laying out in the sun or whatever. So it varies on area. At Grand Velas, similar thing, but then at Secrets, it was more relaxed. Like the people even outside the pool area were not wearing a mask. So it varies on the resort.
And I know there are capacity limits for a lot of resorts now too. But I'm curious, what was the volume of guests like at the resorts? Was it close to normal at all? And if it wasn't, I assume it wasn't close to normal. But how did that impact your experience there?
So I went to Cancun in September, so that's different because they're almost up to 60%. Okay. And the fives was actually going to reach 60%, I think, for November. So we are seeing more people. There's a lot of people headed to Mexico right now. When I was in Cabo, that was July, and they were held at 25 or 30%. I can't remember the exact percentage. Hard Rock was sold out. Grand Velas, I think, was at 12 to 15%. When I say Hard Rock was sold out, they were sold out on the 25 to 30%, not sold out whole resort, but they were sold out on what they were allowed to sell. And then at Secrets, they had a lot of clients there because they have a timeshare program too. And so they had guests traveling from their timeshare.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing for advisors to let their clients know about, is that there might be capacity constrictions in 2021 too. And they don't have unlimited space for all guests, especially people who have rolled over vacations and rolled over travel credits and things like that. Yeah, so Kristen, I guess let's either of you can jump in at any time too. I know you guys both have a lot of different experiences, so I don't want to pigeonhole either of you and what you sell. But Kristen, I wonder if we could talk about theme parks now. I know you've experienced. We talked earlier in the pandemic about Universal Studios, and I know you've experienced sort of all the major Florida theme parks. And I'm wondering, how has the experience changed? What were the restrictions like? Were there any rules you had to take care of before you headed down there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in terms of both major theme parks, they're doing a fantastic job with safety. They've really kind of hit it out of the ballpark with the procedures they've put in place. If anyone who's been to Disney or Universal lately can definitely attest to the fact that so much time and effort has been put into the planning and the strategic nature of how social distancing guidelines are working, the temperature checks, and everything's executed pretty flawlessly. I think what we're seeing from a client perspective is the big issue is wearing a face mask. I think we're going to obviously go in. Hopefully the heat will break a little bit here in Florida soon. I know I'm looking forward to that personally. And I think that's really gonna help folks, kind of get over that hurdle of having to wear a face mask, because that seems to be the biggest contention. But I do feel that they've both just done an excellent job. So if you have any specific questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering, Kristi and I spoke about capacity limits. I know there's capacity limits, and I know I've seen social media accounts that cover the theme parks talk about how they hit capacity a lot lately too. But what was the capacity limits like? I know attractions are closed down. What were the lines like at attractions? Did the theme parks feel full?
Absolutely. So it's definitely been, it's changed throughout the past couple of months. When the theme parks first reopened, the lines were nice and short. And I think the word got out and folks really started hearing that it was a lower capacity. They don't release the exact capacity numbers, but what I have seen over the past couple of weeks to a month, because I do visit so frequently, is that crowds are going up, or at least the lines are getting longer. And I think the reason for that is because the shows, the nighttime parade, fireworks, parades, things of that nature aren't currently running. So it really takes that buffer away, and everyone is directed into kind of the same exact area of the park, which is riding these attractions. So everyone's focused on the same thing. So we are seeing a little bit of longer lines as time has progressed, but it's still manageable.
Yeah, we have a question in the chat. Barbara Bayer, I guess you answered it, but she wants to know are all the rides open. But it seems like most of the attractions are open, but a lot of the ones that maybe incorporate guests in large groups, they haven't opened. Is that correct?
That's right. So almost every ride is open. What we're seeing that hasn't opened is a lot of these shows. So I know Hollywood Studios is getting ready to reopen the Frozen sing-along show, which will be one of the first large capacity seating areas that Disney tackles. So I'll be interested to see how they do that. But at this point, in terms of rides themselves, almost everything is open.
Yeah, and I think that's good. I mean, capacity, again, I think a lot of people got lucky, not lucky in the beginning of the pandemic, but I think a lot of people enjoyed having less crowds, and I think more and more people are feeling comfortable traveling, and that's what all the research shows too, which is good news for travel advisors. But I think it's something clients need to know is that it's not going to be, there's going to be limited space, especially in 2021.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, but I want to ask you guys, oh, go ahead, Kristen.
No, sorry, I was going to say, I think the most important thing to keep in mind here when talking to travel advisors is that we need to set realistic expectations for our guests. We need to let them know, and that's why I visit so frequently, to stay on top of that, because things are changing so rapidly that we need to let them know what they're going into. What they might have heard a month ago might not be the case when they arrive 4 weeks from now. So it's really important to just set level expectations so they know exactly what their trip is going to play out like.
Yeah, we're actually getting a lot of questions about, it looks like Disney specific stuff. A lot of them Kelly wants to know about restarting fast passes. Is that something they stopped doing? They stopped issuing,
They have.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no word on that yet as to when fast passes will return. I think that's the big question on everyone's mind right now. But there's no indication that that will return anytime soon.
But we talked about it. Kristen and I talked before we came on here, and we talked about the perfect client to go right now, or the ideal client, and that's a high Disney affinity client. So I have clients there right now who've been multiple times. They had been in their houses for a long time. We prep them before they go so they have an idea of what to expect, but that's their happy place. So they're happy there, sometimes even with the longer lines, but that's the client that we would suggest visiting in 2020. For the rest of the year, is the high Disney affinity client who has been multiple times.
Okay, yeah, and I guess the question I had, knowing about these restrictions in theme parks and even in the resorts, especially for people who are maybe frequent resort guests, is the experience has definitely changed, but they still might be paying that same price point. I'm wondering, I mean, how does that impact your business? Is it, again, what you mentioned, just being open and honest and setting the expectations correctly? Is that key, especially when you're paying the same amount of, you're paying the same price point for a different vacation experience?
Yeah, I think what Kristi had just mentioned is we need to be strategic and really think about who we're selling 2020 vacation packages to, because it is those high affinity Disney clients. And I know with my agency personally, even clients who, think there might be reduced lines with the rides, we've really been encouraging them, if it's their first trip, to hold off, because the full experience isn't there right now. It's great for those repeat guests who need a little Disney in their life, but it's not the right experience for everyone right now, especially with the pricing. It's hard for guests to pay that full package pricing and then to not have the full experience. We are finding, however, at Universal Orlando, because two different theme parks here, obviously, we have a lot of guests who are going for the express pass packages at the premier resorts there, because they're not having to wait in the lines, and we're having really great feedback from our clients who are going that route.
And
yeah, I know we have. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kristi.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Me and Kristen had talked about this beforehand. Universal's running promos, so we're able to get guests a better, or I won't say a better deal, but they're having to pay less of a price for Universal than what we were getting at Disney.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to mention, I know a lot of Disney questions seem to have popped up. I don't want to, if there's anything else you guys want to add about any other theme parks or resorts, feel free to. And again, the chat, If you have any questions about resorts, anything specific you want to ask these advisors, just go ahead and drop it in there. Even though we might, the conversation seems to be focusing on Disney. Yeah, I mean, Kristen, and you mentioned that you guys have talked about the ideal client, and that's something we mentioned in a few past sessions, and it seems to be an important thing to have in your head. But I mean, so if you get first time or second time theme park people coming to you wanting to book vacations, do you just suggest to them that maybe it's best you wait till 2021 if you want that full experience then?
Yeah, it kind of organically happens as we have conversations. And Kristi and I talked a little bit as well. Even we're finding that clients who come to us with a specific destination in mind right now may not end up in the destination that they originally came to us looking for. Because as we start to talk to them about things like fast passes not being in place, different, just, little caveats there, we're finding that they might be a better fit in another destination. So for example, we'll have clients who are just kind of looking to get out of their house and have, a nice laid back experience. We've actually converted several Disney clients to Mexico, or kind of vice versa, cruise clients who we've put into Walt Disney World packages. And so we're really seeing a lot of crossover in things where they might come to us with a different intention and we end up finding a better fit for them.
Yeah, and I think it helps that, I mean, they are different experiences, but they do, is it a lot of, it seems like a lot of what you're getting is family clients maybe, or family groups. Is that right, Kristi? Is it family groups?
We're getting a wide variety. So like tomorrow I have a family who they live on the East Coast. They've been inside for months and they're actually going to stay for almost 10 days in Mexico, and they're going to do virtual school and work from generations there. And so we have a wide variety. We have couples who are like, we've been trapped in our house for months with our kids and we need a week away. And so it's a wide variety. Like Kristen said, we're having to tailor it to each guest's needs on what best fits them.
I'm curious just about that. I forget what you called it earlier, but like vacation and learn, something like that. Is that the term you used?
I just left my mind. Kristen, what were we calling it? There's an official name for it. The resorts are actually marketing it. But it's where we're having them, like the kids are doing school virtually, the parents are working virtually. So we're just taking families who've been put in their houses for months on end, and they're going down to Mexico, and it's like mom's not having to wash the clothes because a lot of the resorts are offering laundry and the food's cooked for them, and the kids get immersed in another culture. I mean, the families really seem to like it. They get to get away for a long extended period of time.
And there are several resort brands who are specifically targeting that as well.
Yes.
Some are selling it as more towards virtual schooling, and some are selling it more towards, adults who are kind of sick of their being stuck in the same office and looking for a change of pace for themselves. So it's really interesting to see how the resort brands and suppliers have kind of adapted and offered those new products. It's really nice.
What I was wondering is that something that clients are coming to you just looking for a vacation and you suggest, or is that something you guys are marketing out in your emails and things like that to your clients to sort of broach the subject? I mean, I guess what's the process? Do the clients come to you, or do you go to clients for something like that?
We're a combo. We're doing both. We're marketing it to clients, and then we're having clients who come to us and are like, I really need to go somewhere, because we have a lot of repeat clients. So we know the families well, and we're like, okay, we have this program where you can go and stay for an extended period of time for a cheaper rate. And there's things like laundry included. Some of the resorts are even offering like classes where the kids can take Spanish. Awesome. So the resorts in Mexico are really doing a good job of marketing that.
Okay. Yeah, so if anyone, I know I see a lot of questions coming in. And again, if anybody has any questions, please drop them in there, and I'm going to grab as many as we can and going along. Kira Gardner wants to know, I guess, Kristi, do you know what resorts in particular are offering laundry?
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's Playa Resorts, like Hyatt, and then Royalton too. But they actually have a flyer on their site that lists everything that comes with that package.
Okay. And have either of you, I know we hit on Mexico because Mexico seems to be, I know there's not a lot of winners in the pandemic, but they seem to be improving their business faster than a lot of other areas. Have you either you experienced any resorts in the Caribbean, in the Dominican Republic, or Jamaica, or any other destinations?
I have clients in St. Lucia right now.
And how have you seen any differences in their experience as you have from the experiences from your clients or yourself in Mexico?
Yes. So they missed their first flight, which I fixed all of that for them, but they missed printing out one paper because they had to do the pre-test and we had to do several steps to get there. And I had them a checklist that Richard Moss had put up, but they still missed printing one paper. So they missed the flight. So we got them rescheduled and we shifted the trip over one day and they're flying home a day later. But we did have that with the paper not being printed correctly.
I'd love to jump in on this one too, Dan, if that's okay. I think something that Kristi and I also talked about is just when we're having these initial conversations with our clients, something that's really changed for us throughout the pandemic is the first conversation I have, I kind of start by asking them what their comfort level is. Because for a while, you know, Mexico has a really open border. It's very easy to travel in and out of Mexico right now. And our assumption was that that's what folks would be looking for, but I've actually found there's a wide split and it's completely understandable. Some clients are actually looking for destinations like Jamaica and St. Lucia where testing is in place and they feel a little more secure in terms of safety versus an open border like Mexico where there's no testing in place. So we're really starting our initial conversations and I'm letting the client tell me a little bit about what they're looking for in terms of safety with COVID.
Yeah, that is a good point to make, is knowing your client. And I mean, there was a lot of talk before COVID. I always spoke about to advisors about knowing your client's likes and dislikes and things like that. But knowing their comfortability, I guess, with COVID and with traveling in general seems to be super important. Yeah,
in Hawaii open today, and we're going to have to do COVID test, have the clients do COVID test to go to Hawaii. So like Kristen was saying, we asked the clients at the beginning, are you willing to take a COVID test? And what they're looking for, if they're looking for somewhere that requires COVID testing, are they willing to do the COVID testing, all of that type stuff to know where to send them.
Yeah. And I guess we don't have to get specific, but I mean, how have those conversations gone about COVID testing? Is that a big hurdle for some travelers to get over? Some of them just do not want to get a COVID test?
It just varies by the client.
Yeah, I think we're both seeing a wide split of folks who are happy to get tested, you know, to go to a destination that they deem safer versus those who, you know, do not want to be tested at any cost.
Yeah, and then when people do need to get tested, are you pointing them in the direction of somewhere to get tested? Is that something you guys offer, or is it just sort of up to them to figure it out? I mean, do you give them advice on where to get tested, or how they can get tested quickly and maybe an easier time than in other places?
So we don't give. I don't give medical advice. I don't think Kristen gives medical advice either. Which that leads into a great thing. We have a lawyer. Kristen and I both use the same lawyer. And so our lawyer advises us on what we should and shouldn't be doing because it's an active thing and things are changing all the time. But I'll give a list of where you can get the testing based on the location. But I put in there, I'm not a doctor, I'm not giving you medical advice, and I don't upload my client's negative test. I have them upload it, and then I have them send me a copy of the email showing they submitted it correctly because of HIPAA laws and stuff like that.
That's exactly how we handle it as well, Dan. And I think another thing Kristi and I wanted to discuss is COVID waivers. That's a very important part of our process now. Before I even place a deposit for a client, we do require that they sign a COVID waiver just to, you know, protect our agency. We work really hard to build our travel brands. I know everyone who's on the call does the same. So it's very important to make sure we're buttoned up legally in those ways.
And you used your lawyer, your partners with, to build the COVID waiver, and it covers you guys basically for any client going anywhere. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
And we also offer insurance in writing, and the client either has to confirm or deny the insurance in writing, and we keep a booking form so that every client, we have a record of what's went on legally. Yeah.
I think that's important for everyone to realize is that, I mean, what you mentioned, Kristi, is that none of us are doctors. So, I mean, medical advice is sort of not something anyone should think about getting into. And then, I mean, covering yourself legally from your business side of, I think is as bad as important as even earning a booking. And I think that's important to remember. So I wanted to ask, because I'm friends with both of you on Facebook, and I see sort of your posts and interactions on Facebook, particularly from the experiences you guys have had at theme parks. I know, Kristen, I've seen a lot of your theme park posts and at resorts. I'm curious, do you is when you put something up on your social media, are you hoping that sort of helps you build relationships with clients or build the sales talk with the clients so they see you traveling, they trust you, they feel more comfortable? Is that a powerful thing that you feel is important to know as we go through this period? I guess Kristi, if you want to kick us off there.
I think it's very important. So whenever I travel, I have an assistant that helps me, Amy, and I do a blog while I'm in travel and she loads it to the website. So I detail the experience, load it to the website. We market it on the agency's Facebook page and I post about it too, because we found a direct connection between us traveling as travel advisors and sales. So like the client that's in St. Lucia now, his mom saw me in Mexico in Cabo and he didn't think he could go anywhere in 2020. And so his mom was like, I saw Kristi was in Mexico, call her and see if you can go on a honeymoon. Well, he called me and he's in St. Lucia now, and that wouldn't have happened had I not went to Mexico myself and posted pictures of the trip.
What about you, Kristen? I know I've seen a lot of your I know you live fairly close to Orlando too, so it probably helps. But yeah, how is that something you've felt has made a difference as well?
It does, absolutely. We've definitely seen a correlation between sales. I've been to Mexico a few times in the past month, and we've been selling quite a bit of Mexico lately, and the same with the theme parks. But the reason I do it really is not for the sale, it's so that our clients can still view us as an expert. I've been known as a Disney subject matter and Universal Orlando subject matter expert for quite some time. And I think showing our clients that we have boots on the ground and that we're there doing it really just kind of solidifies in their mind that we're their travel professional, whether they're ready to book or not.
Yeah, and I think agency groups I think are promoting that too. I know travel leaders, for any travel leaders agent, they had their conference this week, and I think that was something they mentioned too, that they want agents to get out and get on fam trips and experience the product firsthand, especially as things have changed so quickly. So we have a question about the waivers you guys mentioned before. Kira wants to know, I guess, is for the waivers, is it just for 2020 bookings, or is it now you're just doing it for 2021 as well?
We're doing it for everything.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's just important to know, is that keeping your business safe is sort of the key in these situations.
I think it's one of the, there aren't many silver linings in this situation. It's been an incredibly difficult year for all of us, I know. But the one thing I know both Kristi and I talk about very frequently is it has given us time to kind of sit down and evaluate all of our processes and procedures that we use within our agencies. And do kind of look at this again, because I think everyone has learning opportunities in what they're doing. So we really kind of tightened things and streamlined everything. And I know that for both of us, there will be everlasting changes going forward and a lot that we've learned from this.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Lawrence Gore, he only works in travel. And so Kristen and I, we both have different partnerships with him, but similar. And so he legally advises us, and we're on like a year thing with him, and he wrote our waivers up and he assists us with all of our stuff. So if I have a question sometimes before I answer the client, I'll go to Lawrence and say, Lawrence, this was presented to me and I've never answered this before. Can you assist me? And he'll help me respond so that I'm legally responding correctly.
Okay. Yeah. And I know the Maestro series that we're running, and I know there's a bunch of other series. They do give someone else, Beth recommends Lawrence Gore too. Yeah, they do. There's a lot of advice out there for writing waivers, and again, I think it's something every advisor should be looking into right now. So I have some questions that came in before the session from viewers, and again, if anyone has a question right now in the chat, go ahead and drop it in there, and we're going to grab them as we go along. We have about 20 minutes left, and then we'll see what we can get done in the last 20 minutes. But we had one coming from Larry Ryan, and both Kristi, you and Kristen touched upon this today, but I guess his question is just sort of a general question. He wants to know, who are the people choosing to travel now? Is it the frequent travelers? Is it first-time travelers? Is it families? Is it couples? Like, it seems to be a mix of everyone. But are you seeing any trends in that? Or more people? Are some categories of people more open than others? Kristi, yeah. Do you want to grab that one?
Sure. So I feel like it varies by state too, because each state had different regulations. So if someone in a state has to come back in quarantine or something like that, we're seeing less business from the states with heavier lockdowns. I live in Texas, Kristen lives in Florida, and both of those, we have seen an uptick in people who are like, you know, they're frequent travelers, they want to get out, and we could find them places to get out and have a break from all the insanity. So I would say frequent travelers, people who live in states that didn't have a lot of restrictions are what we're seeing. And then we're also seeing some people who hadn't traveled but were willing to travel to like national parks and stuff like that. So again, back to what Kristen was saying, we have to match make those clients with their ideal vacation and where they could travel legally.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, one of the questions that came up in my head was just hearing both of you today, and I guess, Kristen, if you want to tackle this one, but how do you stay informed about all the changes? I know you spoke about your firsthand experiences, but I mean, things seem to change so quickly now. Is there any, what do you do? Is it communication with the supplier? Is it other things to just stay up to date on the changes and be able to inform your clients?
Absolutely. Yes, it's contact with our suppliers and our managers with those various suppliers. And then also there are a variety of fantastic Facebook groups that I'm a part of. Most of the Caribbean islands have one. Just make sure that it's run by someone reputable on the tourism board or something of that nature. And then having a support group, because it's impossible for us to, one single person to stay abreast of all of those changes. So, you know, kind of having a great support group or working with maybe a host agency or something, being plugged in different ways, just so you have some accountability from other folks and you're partnering together to spread what's going on, because it's really challenging to stay on top of all of the changes.
I'm curious if there's any Facebook groups in particular that you can recommend, just so an advisor can see sort of one that's reputable and one that's doing a good job of keeping the members up to date. Is there any particular one that you think is a good example?
Yeah, the Jamaican Tourism Board runs one. Kristi, do you know if
Yeah, and then the Sailing the Caribbean, Kelly, hers is really good. Yeah, having a good support network is really important too. Like Kristen and I and a few other agency owners, we message every day. And so like if we hear something's coming out, we're like, hey, did you hear this is going on? And we link the official information from the island on what's going on. So it's kind of building your own grassroots support system too. And then also your suppliers, like Pleasant Holidays, my team does a lot of business with Pleasant, and actually on their website, they have info on where you can travel and the legalities of it.
Yeah, I think that's important for advisors to know, both for the protocols and for the support system. We've heard that a number of times. It's very important to have, especially in a business like this where it seems to be the hardest hit business that's come out of the pandemic. But so I'm also curious, especially from your conversations from clients, and particularly the ones who haven't booked yet, are you sensing that there is a large pent-up demand to travel? And I guess what are those conversations like for the people who may not want to travel right now, but are definitely sort of dreaming in their head with the plans? What are those conversations like, and how do you talk to clients who may not want to travel but want to talk about travel plans? Kristen, do you want to start us off with this one?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a delicate topic. We need to tread lightly. As Kristi mentioned, I think a lot of it is based on demographics and where our clients are located across the country. Anytime I try to approach things in terms of newsletters, Facebook posts, things of that nature, I really like to focus on safety. So our clients know that we are exercising the right safety procedures and things of that nature. We never want folks to feel as if there's any pressure and that we're trying to sell them, especially during these challenging times. But I think for those who have kind of, reached out and are ready to start that conversation, we just need to reassure them that we're there if things need to get rescheduled. I know Kristi talks quite a bit with her clients about this. We want to make sure we're getting the right insurance in place, and we want to make sure that their trip is protected. And we're reassuring them that if things stay status quo and they don't change in the way that we anticipate before their trip, that we do have options for them. And I think just providing them with that comfort and letting them know that you're their advocate for them in this situation gives them a little more ease as they think about traveling. And we are really starting to see an uptick of clients who are getting that itch to get out and travel again.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing that. I think everyone is sort of seeing the demand is going to flow. I think as people become more comfortable with certain travel restrictions, I think the demand is going to start showing itself in bookings too. So this one came in before the session during the week. Angie Snyder wanted to know how you sell may change, but have you changed what you sell in terms of products? I guess the question is, have you added any products to your sort of catalog of things you sell as the pandemic has gone on, just because they seem maybe more appropriate to sell in this kind of environment? Kristi, I see you nodding your head. Is that, yeah.
I was looking at Kristen because we had this conversation. So my team does book a lot of Disney World and Universal, and we're still doing that. But we've seen a huge upswing in Mexico. I mean, Mexico for my team is the clear winner of what we've seen happen, because clients want to get away, they want to de-stress, and they just want to chill out after what we've all experienced. And we have refocused on Mexico big time. That would be, we already booked Mexico, but I would say, I mean, do you remember when we were sending people to the Dominican? Well, now it's like we moved people from the Dominican and other places to Mexico.
Yeah, it is nice to hear Mexico, because I know Mexico has had a few tough years, and it is nice to hear that the demand is coming back from Mexico because it's such a great destination. I mean, Kristen, is that something you've seen too? And I mean, is there any resorts or any properties that you guys have that you've added particularly to your catalog, I guess, or is it still things that you've sort of experienced firsthand and that you're well in tuned in selling?
Yeah, absolutely. So my team heavily focuses on theme park travel, but we've always offered all-inclusives to our clients as well. And I think what we've really seen a nice crossover is with family all-inclusives. I think a lot of folks aren't familiar with family brand all-inclusives, and they might think of it, in terms of the 80s and all-inclusive with like a cheap buffet and a bunch of alcohol. So we like to kind of reframe their expectations, and we kind of have been offering those and had great success. I would say for anyone who does specialize in theme park travel, right now is a great time to pivot your business and start offering Mexico. Because it's such a great crossover. If clients can't afford to travel to Disney or Universal, they're often, their budget's already exceeding what they could do at a nice all-inclusive resort. So it's a really easy transition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we have a couple questions about Mexico. And I mean, what you guys have said seems to make the most sense, is that to really get your handle on Mexico, it's best to sort of see it firsthand, especially now. I know a lot of advisors are anxious to travel too, and that seems to be the place to travel.
And Kristen and I both took our teams over the last, 6 weeks, Kristen? My team was in September, and I think Kristen's was August.
So this is a Disney specific question that came in prior. Shirley Braun said, she said she's hoping to understand the reservation system clients need to do to go to Disney parks once they are confirmed with a reservation. So I know I don't know, I know you probably know more, but you definitely know more about it than I do. Kristen, can you talk to me about that reservation system, and how has that reservation system changed with the new COVID rules?
Yes, absolutely. So the new reservation system was actually put in place due to COVID. It wasn't something that existed pre-COVID. So this is how Disney is restricting their park capacity. In order for clients to visit on any given day, they must have a theme park ticket in addition to a park pass reservation. So it was just announced today that the park pass reservations have been extended throughout next year. So clients can go ahead and start planning as they're booking those new 2021 vacations. They can also secure their park passes. So it's just another level. Disney's already a product where there's it's labor intensive for travel advisors to plan Disney. And it's just another level that we add in there that we need to make our clients aware. They do need to select the park passes on their own. It's not something that we can go into their My Disney Experience account and do for them, because as they select that park pass, they're also signing a COVID waiver directly with Disney. So it's very important that we let our clients know that they have to do that piece on their own. But it's just another level that's added in there. And, the park pass availability has been a lot better than I initially thought it would be. Typically, if you're planning a couple of weeks in advance, we haven't run into many dates where they're blocked out or there's no availability.
Just Thanksgiving and Hollywood Studios is the only thing I've seen so far.
And Halloween, yeah. But if you plan in advance, it really hasn't been much of a roadblock for clients. And it's, it gives them, they know that peace of mind that they're going to be getting into the theme park that day. Okay,
yeah. I think that hopefully that answers Shirley's question. I saw another one come in from Lisa. I don't know, Kristi, if you want to grab this one. She wants to know, are you selling Mexico because it's just easy for people to get there and less restrictive than many other destinations? And yeah, I mean, or I guess is Mexico seeing the upswing because of the less restrictions and guests feel more comfortable going there?
And I think that's a great question. Kristen and I actually discussed it beforehand. So I feel like there's less paperwork to get in, but I feel super safe there personally. So I'm sending clients there because I want my clients to have a good, safe experience. So I feel like Mexico is like over the top on their cleaning. When you get to the airport, you go over shoe sanitizer. When you get to the resort, you're walking over shoe sanitizer. They're checking temperatures. So everything is safe, but it's the only place I've been where you're getting the similar experience. So you're getting your money's worth, you're getting a great experience, but in a safe environment. So that's the reason I'm selling it.
And is that the similar experience to you, Kristen?
Absolutely. I mean, Mexico has always been a great destination, but I know a couple of years back, we had some issues with all-inclusives in Mexico, and it made, it was pretty big in the press, and I think it made people step back a little bit. This is really a great resurgence for Mexico. It's a fantastic destination. You can't beat the water in Mexico. It's like when my team stepped onto the beach in Cancun, we had almost forgotten, even though we're there pretty frequently, just how amazing it is. And they are really doing a great job with their safety procedures. And there's such a great breadth of resort offerings to, from family resorts to multi-generational properties, and then a lot of, honeymoon and adult only properties as well. So it's a great destination for anyone who's not selling Mexico. I would highly recommend that be your next niche to get into.
Yeah, and I'm curious, are you seeing any uptick in interest in wellness vacations or vacations with activities that could sort of improve your health or your well-being or things like that? Kristi, I saw you nodding your head again.
Yeah, I'm actually going with Pleasant Holidays October 26th, and we're going on a fam, and then part of that is going to a farm where they're growing food, and then they make it organically, like farm to table. And I took my team on a health and wellness retreat is actually what I carried them on. And so we did stuff like guided meditation, we did mindset work, because part of selling is right now is coming from a good place mentally. And so that's what my team focused on when we were in Mexico. So we went to guided meditation, we had journals and we journaled, and we worked on our mindset to like overcome the things we've experienced with COVID.
Okay. Yeah, I know we only have a few minutes left, and I want to let you guys have the opportunity to sum things up, but we do have a couple more questions. I'm going to grab maybe one or two more. We have somebody asking about Puerto Rico. Have either of you guys experienced Puerto Rico? And are you seeing any interest in Puerto Rico or no?
I have not.
I have not either.
Okay. We have a suggestion for a Cabo resort, and then we have a question about the Disney reservation system, which I guess, it seems to be a lot to know about that reservation system, but both of you seem super comfortable with it. Is it just something you've sort of gotten used to, you've mastered? Is it sort of trial by fire? Is that the situation with the Disney reservation system?
No, it's actually very simple.
Go ahead, Kristen. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead, Kristi.
What I did was I booked myself, and I was going myself, and I recorded with Zoom the process of making the reservation. I turned that into a YouTube video for the agency.
Oh, wow.
And we send it to clients. So the clients saw me making it for myself. So I think for Kristen and I both, we go personally. So we've experienced doing it for ourselves. And also I'll Zoom with clients. If a client has a problem, I have Zoom, I get on it, and I'll help them that way. That way they're still signing the COVID waiver, but I'm assisting them in booking their park reservation in advance.
And my process is very similar. We just have a CRM document that walks them through step by step with screenshots, exactly what they need to do to secure their park reservations. And it's just another step in the process. It's very simple for clients. We haven't had any clients who have had any hangups or really difficulty doing that. It's just once they purchase their park pass or their reservation, that's the next step. You want to go ahead and make sure that you're doing that immediately after.
Okay. And then we just have, I guess we have two viewers wanting to know, Kristi, you mentioned the wellness, the resort you went to for the wellness activities. I guess they just want to know the name again.
So we were at the Fives, and then we were at, I never say it correctly, Atelier. I think I'm saying it correct. I'll tell you. It's a wonderful resort. Both are great.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you guys both for joining me today. I know today's a busy day for both of you in particular because you do Disney vacations, but I think everyone got a lot out of it, and I know everyone is going to be looking into the waivers especially, and a lot of other things to go with these vacations. I think it's sort of admirable how you've been able to sort of build your experience and direct clients to places. But I wanted to give you guys some time. I mean, to just maybe a minute or two to tell anyone out there who maybe isn't making bookings right now, or maybe looking to jump into the Mexico pool, the all-inclusive pool, or the theme park pool right now. Do you have any advice for them on educating themselves, or any advice for them on talking about those vacations for your clients that you have found particularly impactful for your businesses? Kristen, let's go ahead and start with you.
Absolutely. I mean, I would just encourage every advisor to hang in there. You know, Kristi and I, our bookings are down too. So we're not trying to say, you know, we're back to a normal status by any means. But this kind of look at this downtime as an opportunity to take every day. You know, we're always reading a book or doing a new training. Really utilize this time as a gift and increase your skill set and just keep working. If anyone has questions in regards to Disney or anything of that nature, please feel free to contact me. Kristi and I are both very open, and we love helping other advisors reach their potential. So we're definitely an open book, but you know, we have to kind of look at the positive side of this situation, and we have to use it to our advantage. I really think travel advisors are going to be in the spotlight coming out of this, and we're going to be at top of folks' minds. And I think we're going to be stronger than ever coming out of this, even though it's difficult right now.
Kristi?
And I agree with Kristen 1,000%. And I was so excited whenever Kristen and I were talking about it beforehand. I was like, can you believe we're actually talking about booking? We're not talking about canceling. We're talking about booking. So that's the good news, is that we're redirecting the focus to booking. And for me, I would say the same thing as Kristen. Just try to look on the bright side. You get more of what you focus on. And so we actually work together in a group on mindset, and we just focus on everything positive. And it's been a great time to build relationships with your suppliers too. Karen Seiler with Pleasant Holidays, when everything was like really bad, so March, April, she came in with my team. We meet each Monday with Zoom, and she met with us every Monday 4 in a row. And she was like, you guys are not giving up. And so I would say those supplier relationships, those are really helpful if you build those with your suppliers.
Well, I think those are important. I think the relationship you guys have with you and your colleagues is super important too. I want to thank you guys. Are getting a lot of great comments in the chat. I want to again thank you so much on behalf of me and the rest of the team, our team, for jumping on today. And for everyone, I want to also thank all the attendees too. It's always great to see so many faces on these calls, and I hope to see you guys all back here on October 29th. So yep, thank you guys again so much, and I hope everybody has a great rest of your week and a great weekend.
It's time to go start working on my Halloween costume for the next session.
Thank you. We have wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.